This is John Cola with OKRaw.com. I have another exciting episode for you, and this one is actually what I eat in a week in the raw foods diet. So I have another video that I did, what I eat in a week, and that was actually posted back in January. So that was like, oh man, almost like over half a year ago, 10 months ago, whatnot. And you know, I'm gonna make another video because that was so popular. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm eating now, because you know what I eat is based on the seasons and what is available to me at the time. So this is pretty much the end of the summer, starting up the fall here. Some of the leaves are dropping on the trees, and you know, my diet's always changing, but you know, there are definitely some staples in my diet, and I always encourage you guys to rotate whatever you're eating to get a whole bunch of different nutrients in your body and flood your body with different taste sensations and all different kinds of nutrients, so that your body could choose what it wants to absorb. Because you know, if you stick with eating bananas and romaine lettuce all the time, you're missing out on a whole bunch of different phytochemicals and phytonutrients and minerals and trace minerals and vitamins in all different kinds of foods that you're gonna see in this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open up the trunk and show you guys what I got at the wholesale produce terminal, but also the farmer's market, because I don't want to just shop at one place. I want to shop at as many places as possible to ensure I can get a diversity, plus also the best prices. So let's go ahead and open up the trunk, and we'll show you guys what I got this week. Now we're going to show you some of the scores that I got this week. And you know, every week is totally different. I might get different things this week than next week, and in general I go to the produce terminal maybe once every 2 weeks. You know, some of the items that I got today will actually save in the refrigerator, even not in a refrigerator. So I'll go over those things as well, because those are important things to know. So I guess we'll start off. The first thing I got the terminal actually this week were these guys, fresh California figs. Now these are organic, right there, USDA organic. This was 40 bucks for a whole case of figs, and these are organic Black Mission figs. I love these guys a lot, and actually, you know, always when selecting your figs, you want to squeeze your figs, but don't squeeze them too hard to bruise them. You want to make sure they're ripe, because if they're not ripe, they're going to have a proteolytic enzyme called physin, which actually that makes your tongue kind of burn, kind of like the bromelain in the pineapple makes your tongue burn. It'll make it bleed if you eat too much. So the riper the fig, the less the physin. Also, a lot of the physin is contained up near the stem, so just eat the bottom, and actually don't eat the skin if it starts to bother you. You know, so all these figs will probably last me about a week. You know, I can't say, oh, I eat, you know, 1 carton or 2 cartons a day. You know what? I like to have food in abundance, and you'll notice that I just buy a lot of food, and I have it all laid out, you know, whether it's in my fridge or just on the shelf, and I'll kind of see what I feel like eating. Plus also I take into consideration what's ripe and what's going to go bad, and I need to eat before it goes bad. So on these figs here, I'm just going to basically take, I don't know, 2-3 cartons worth, wash them up, and just start eating them and eating them and eating them until, you know, I feel full, or I feel that I've had enough, or unfortunately my tongue starts to burn too much, because that's an indicator that I had too much. And I don't want my tongue to burn too bad, because your tongue will heal. You know, it's auto healing. I like that a lot. So that's pretty much how I eat those, and so I don't know how long these will last. Plus I like to give some to friends, because actually figs in the store at Whole Foods locally, they're about $5.99 a pound. So these ones I calculated out to be, I don't know, about $3 a pound wholesale. So definitely a good price, and these guys are really ripe, so I appreciate that a lot too, because you always want to eat the ripest fruit as possible. And the ripest, of course, is picking yourself, which we'll talk about at the end of this video. But other than that, you want to check to make sure it's as ripe as possible. In the industry, ripe produce is a liability, because it will spoil and go bad. In the same level, it's actually better for us, and you'll get cheaper prices, because they want to move out the stuff that's ripe and overripe and going bad before they lose their profits. Besides going to the wholesale produce terminal in both South San Francisco and San Francisco, and if you don't know about the wholesale produce terminals, be sure to check my other videos. I have several videos on the wholesale produce terminals, how to work the ones that I specifically have gone to, including the ones in South San Francisco, also been to the one in Los Angeles, in Cleveland, Ohio, and Baltimore, and I hope to get around to some of the other ones like in New York and Oakland, California, really soon, one of these days when I'm traveling by there, to show you guys how to work them exactly, because it can be intimidating if you haven't done it before, but it's really easy. You can Google search, you know, your city name or a large city. Normally they're only in large cities. Google your city name and produce terminal or wholesale produce and see what comes up. If you don't have a wholesale produce terminal, which is like a shopping mall with every different vendor is a different seller, you may have just produce distributors, which you could call each of them up and ask them if they sell to just people with cash money. And some of them will, but some of them may also not. But besides the produce terminal, to make sure I get the range, I stop by the local farmer's market on the way home as well. And this way I could get fresher produce because it's at the terminal. Actually, it's gone from farmer to produce terminal, usually to grocery store, then to you. So I cut out the grocery store middleman. But just going directly to the farmer's market, it's going from farmer to you. So you're cutting out the wholesaler. So in some cases, you can actually get better deals than actually the wholesale terminal. And then also, the other thing is that it's also fresher because the farmer may have picked it that morning, brought it to market, and selling it that day. Whereas if it's going through the wholesale produce terminal, it may have been picked, a day, several days before the time the wholesaler gets it because it's put on a truck and shipped and whatnot. So I encourage you guys to always eat the highest quality and freshest picked produce for the highest level of nutrients. So what I got at the farmer's market here was a flat of organic strawberries. So this flat of organic strawberries here, $12. These are organic strawberries, amazing deal. And I went to the farmer's market at the very end, and that's the way you're gonna assure you get the best deals because they don't wanna take this stuff home. It's gonna spoil. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that you should do when buying by the case, whether it's at the produce terminal or like this, you want to go through and cull the produce. And now produce managers know what that is. You guys may not. What that means is you're just going to go through here and, find the ones that may be moldy or soft, because there will be some, and pick them out. If they're really bad, toss them out. If they're just bad on a little edge, cut that section out and eat it still. But you need to cull them, because if you don't cull them, they're going to go bad faster than, sooner than later. So you don't want to lose your investment in the produce that's going to feed your body. And actually, I feel one of them dripping on me right now as I'm holding this box. So I'm going to try to find that guy, see where he is. Oh, here it is. Here's one that's literally just rotten in the bottom half. So we're just going to go ahead and compost this guy, because if this rot touches another strawberry, it'll tend to rot the other one. So yeah, go through and cull them, every day, every couple days. And the culls are what you're going to eat. So I'm like, I'm going to eat strawberries tonight for my evening dressing. I could make a dressing out of strawberries and peppers, some macadamia nuts, blend it up in the blender. It's quite delicious. And I'm just going to go through and take the culls. Maybe this one I might be able to save a millimeter worth, or maybe I'll just compost and I'll go through and grab the ones that maybe aren't so looking good and use those tonight in my blended recipe. So yeah, use the produce that's going bad first. So I'm excited to show you guys the next thing I got, and actually this was also from the farmer's market. I've actually rarely, if ever, seen these guys actually at the produce terminal in this state. I've seen the fresh ones, but these are actually sun-dried jujubes, and they're also called the Chinese date. These guys were, actually fairly expensive. These guys were actually coming in at $12 a pound, so that's actually a lot of money. But if you ever tasted one of these guys freshly dried, you'll definitely pay the price. These guys are actually used in herbal Chinese medicine. They put them in teas and whatnot, so you can also buy these at your local, Chinese market or Korean market. But the problem is, when you get them there, they're just over dried, in my opinion. They're not this same texture. You could also get these guys fresh and eat them fresh, and they kind of taste like an apple. But this is the favorite way I love to purchase these guys. And this is what it looks like right here. And these are basically harvested when they're ripe. They're put out, laid out in the sun, just like sun-dried raisins. And then you get these guys, and I got a whole bag full. This is maybe about 2 pounds worth. And these guys will last, I'll eat a little bit here and there for like dessert or whatnot. And let me go ahead and show you guys the texture, because that's the most amazing part. You bite into that there. Let me show you this in the middle here. It's just nice and chewy and spongy. It reminds me when I was a kid and I thought I was eating pretty healthy. I'd get the white bread that was really, colored brown with caramel coloring or something. And I'd take off the crust, and then I'd wad it up in a ball and then just start eating it. And so that's the consistency of this. It's nice and like kind of spongy in a way. Has a good sweet flavor, and a flavor all its own. So I love eating these guys. Nice texture. They taste good. Plus, these are actually very healing. They are used in Chinese medicine, as I mentioned, or herbal medicine. And actually, this is known as a longevity food. So I'm definitely eating a lot of fresh, dried jujubes. All the items you've seen so far were actually organically grown, and I purchased organically grown things because not only do they have higher nutritional content based on some of the studies I've seen, they also don't have the things that may be bad for you, like the pesticides, the herbicides, and the fungicides, which may cause things like suicides. But I do purchase some conventional produce sometimes that are, quote-unquote safer if they're on the Clean 15 list. That was made by the Environmental Working Group. I avoid definitely at all costs all the things that are on the Dirty Dozen. Now what the EWG.org did, or Environmental Working Group, they basically looked at all the produce and classified them as which ones have the highest pesticide, herbicide, and fungicide residues. And you know, so if you don't have the money to buy organic, you can't get some things organic, you know, eat off that list, things off the Clean 15, and avoid things off the Dirty Dozen. That being said, because I want to have nutrient variety, I buy some of the things that are conventional that maybe not sprayed or not have a lot of residues. And actually one of them is right here. And these are actually called Cactus fruits. So I love the Cactus fruits a lot. Normally these guys may have little spines on them. These actually don't have the spines on them. These guys are actually grown in Mexico, and these are conventional, but you know, I've seen cactus fruits grow in the wild and pretty much nothing messes with them because they got spines on them. So I don't think these are sprayed, and these are basically just harvested, put in these crates, and shipped over. If you're picking these out in the store, you know, you always want to pick the deepest, darkest ones, and these are actually the red cactus fruit. They also come in a green style. If you're picking the green ones, they should be more yellowish than green and maybe just a tad bit soft, but not too much. You also want to check both ends. This is the stem end. Oftentimes the stem end was actually exposed. It's like an avocado without a nubby. And if it's exposed, they may tend to actually rot fairly quickly. So actually I need to go through here once again and call out all the ones that are kind of messed up. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to juice these guys up. And I like to juice them. I peel the skin, juice the middles on the inside. It's very seedy on the inside. That's why I like to juice it. This juicing remove the seeds. But if you don't have a juicer, you can actually just remove the skin and eat the fruit and all with the seeds and swallow them. They'll just end up going right through you. So this cactus fruit here, this was $19 for 38 pounds. So that's about 50 cents a pound. At a local, you know, Mexican market, that's where you have to find these. These aren't available oftentimes in your standard supermarkets, although some may carry them. But you'd have to go to an ethnic market, maybe Asian or Mexican, to find these guys. And this was $19 for the case of 38 pounds, so that's about 50 cents a pound. And normally these guys run about $1 a pound. So, you know, you're definitely saving 50% off by buying them by the case. These guys actually store fairly well, so I won't really need to refrigerate these. I'll just find the ones that have sealed nubbies. This one actually is exposed here, so I have to use this fairly quickly. And you know, I'll juice a whole bunch of these up into some juice and drink it right up. It's so delicious. But better than drinking the juice straight is I'll mix the juice with the next item I got. So let me show you guys that next. The next item I got are these guys. They're Coco Loco brand fresh coconuts. I love my coconuts. Coconuts are a staple food in my diet. I don't seriously know what I'd do without them. And these are actually the Coco Select Tierno, which means young. The younger white Mexican coconuts. If you haven't seen these guys before, what it is, they have the young Thai coconuts, which look like the little yurt, and those are imported from Thailand. Those are really young. Those are like the baby coconuts. They are dipped in sulfides and fungicide based on my research, so I don't necessarily recommend those unless you can't get anything else like these guys at an affordable price. I still will eat on some occasion the Thai coconuts because I don't think the chemicals really get in all the way, you know, to the nut itself and penetrate the nut itself, but still I want to be cautious. So I prefer these guys. So these guys come up from Mexico, also a lot less traveling miles or food miles on your food, and I always encourage you guys to buy as locally as possible. So instead of getting things from Thailand, Mexico's a lot closer because we want to reduce the amount of global impact that our diet has on the earth. And of course, things like animal agriculture increase your impact, and things like fruits and vegetables, especially if front yard grown, probably one of the lowest things, you know, on earth. Of course, you know, shipping in coconuts, not as good as growing it locally, but I'm sure this coconuts being shipped in from Mexico is still probably better than, you know, the environmental impact on some, you know, meats that are raised. So these guys are the white ones. They're not quite as young as the young Thai coconuts. They're a little bit older, and then we have the white coconuts. And even in the white coconuts, there's grades of them. So this is the, you know, Select Tierno, and then they have just the standard white coconuts. You could tell if it's a standard or select if it has like a brown covering or a little bit. You know, this is mostly white without any brown. If it's mostly white with some brown, that means it's getting a little bit more mature. So the young ones, you want to be able to shake them and not hear anything sloshing around. That means they're especially young, and it's full of water. The water is going to be faintly sweet, not as sweet as the Thai coconut. And then the meat is, you know, thicker than the Thai coconut, but not as thick as the, you know, mature coconuts, the brown coconuts. So the fat content isn't quite as high. What I do is I take actually the water from the coconuts here and the juice, from the red cactus fruit, and then I'll blend up the meat in the blender, and then I'll basically pour that through my Omega Vert juicer and basically make, it's like literally it's like a coconut milk cooler, because it's the coconut milk basically plus the cactus fruit juice. Oh, it's so delicious. I also like to use the coconut meat as a source of the fat in my diet. It is a saturated fat for the most part, and I think it's definitely healthier than some other fats. And the saturated fats basically, from my experience, can raise your cholesterol, but also remember that cholesterol is the building blocks of your hormones. And so, you know, if you don't have high enough cholesterol, then your hormones, like the testosterone, which keep you active, may be a little bit lower. So that's why I like the coconuts. And these coconuts here, this case actually this week was actually quite expensive. It's up to $27. Normally these are hovering around 20 bucks, and that's for 20 pieces. So, you know, that's definitely a little bit of money, but they're stable in my diet. And I love the coconut water because it's full of electrolytes. And instead of buying a bottled coconut water, the Zico or whatnot, just get a real coconut. I mean, we're all used to buying packaged and prepared foods and convenient foods, but to me, this is really convenient. Pop a hole through the mouth here, stick a straw in it, drink it up. And I like the coconut water because it's high in electrolytes and also plant cytokines, which may be anti-aging. So the next thing I got is actually right here, and let's go ahead and pull this guy out. It's about 36 pounds right here, and what we're looking at here are organic apples. So these are organic Fuji apples, bagged up, 3 pounds per bag, and 12 bags in the box here, so that's a total of 36 pounds. This was 28 bucks, so this is an amazing deal. Now these are the smaller apples, and you know, if you're eating the apples when you're buying them, you want to definitely get maybe the larger ones. The smaller apples generally don't quite have the flavor I've noticed that the larger ones do, but because I'm using these primarily to make green juices, to, you know, add some sweetness to my green juices, I don't really care the size it's going to go through the juicer, whatever the size it is. And when picking apples to juice, you want to get them nice and firm. These are maybe getting a tad bit soft, maybe that's why they're so inexpensive this week, but nonetheless, these guys are going to turn into some delicious green juice for me. I tend not to like apples so much, you know, I'd rather concentrate on other fruits that are more interesting to me, like the figs and the strawberries, and actually some of the fruits I got growing out on my yard. These apples here were about 28 bucks for 36 pounds, so that's definitely a good price at the local markets here. Apples, Fuji apples, are running about 2 bucks a pound, so that's definitely going to save you over 50% of what you pay in the store. Down to the next box here, what we got here, something I don't normally buy, and what these guys are is a box of butternut squash. This is one of those impulse buys because I don't often eat butternut squash, but this was an amazing deal. It's organic butternut squash here, and normally in the stores these guys organic might sell for like $1 a pound. This guy here was 35 pounds for $13.50. So that's around, you know, 33 cents a pound or thereabouts. So that's quite an amazing deal. So you might think, John, what are you going to do with all that butternut squash? Well, the number one thing I'll do is I'm going to just juice it up. I mean, just like juicing carrots, you could juice the butternut squash up, turn it into some nice carotenoid-rich juices. The other thing I like to do sometimes is actually take a spiral slicer or spiralizer to these guys, and then I'll turn them into noodles. So if I turn them into the angel hair pasta noodles, like really thin noodles, they're actually quite tasty raw, especially if you put a good dressing on them. And the other thing about these guys that I like a lot is that these will store outside the fridge at least for a month or so. So, you know, I'll have these definitely longer than a week because I'm probably not going to mouth through this box in a whole week. I know what you guys might be thinking. You might be thinking, John, I just saw you unload a whole bunch of fruits, and by botanical definition, even the squash is a fruit because it contains seeds, although it's not a sweet fruit. You only got fruits, you know, do you eat any vegetables? And the answer is yes. And my goal every day is to eat 2 pounds of vegetables, including the leafy greens, very important, probably just 2 pounds of leafy greens and also some other vegetables. And I didn't buy too many vegetables because I pretty much grow myself. So, you know, like you just saw, I bought a lot of stuff at the wholesale produce terminal, which is good, and then better was the farmer's market, and then even best is growing it yourself. But on occasion, I do buy some vegetables, especially when they're very good and I'm in between seasons because the summer season is just ending. I'm not actually growing much lettuce right now, so that's the last thing I got. I got some farm fresh organic lettuce here, and this is just not any lettuce. This is a special kind of lettuce. Check it out. These guys are actually called the petite heirloom lettuce heads, sweet, tender, and crisp. So each one of these bags have basically 4 heads of baby lettuce, and basically every night I could polish down like basically 2 of these bags. Goes really quick. Wash them up, chop them up, and pour a good dressing over it. Oh, they're so delicious. And I like it that it's younger. I always encourage you guys to eat your younger, tender greens. Things that are old and getting long, you know, they have more hard fiber in there that are harder to digest. You got to chew them more. The things that are younger are more crisp, more tender, and actually more digestible. So that's why I got these guys. So these guys are my salad green, plus I'm going to a potluck tonight, so I'll use a couple of these bags for a nice large salad I'm bringing, plus supplement it with the greens from my garden. So this here, there was 9 count of these, and it was basically $8. So that's definitely less than $1 for each one of these packs. So that's definitely an amazing deal. These guys probably retail out at a couple bucks each. So excellent deal on the heirloom petite organic lettuce heads. I know what you might be thinking, John, you know, how do you eat all that stuff? You know, what's a standard day for you? Well, you know, I could go over the standard day for me today. You know, so far what I've had was I had some cactus fruits juiced with the coconut. That was definitely delicious. Then I had, you know, about 2-3 cartons of figs, and then I've been grazing actually in my yard, my front yard garden. So that's what we're gonna talk about next. You know, we're gonna talk about what's growing in my front yard, because besides just buying the food, even better than buying food, even if it's from the farmer's market or wholesale produce terminal, it's growing it yourself. And that's one of the things that's not talked about a lot in raw foods. We're taught to go to the store because we're in a big consumerism society. And I want you guys to get out of being a consumer in whatever it is, whether it's your food or your jewelry, start making your own jewelry or something else. And, you know, start becoming the producers, because if you're consuming, there's somebody else in the world that's having to produce for you. And in the olden days, we were all producers and not consumers. And that shifted so much. And, you know, that's what makes the world the way it is. And I encourage you guys to vote with your dollars. So, you know, I choose to vote with my dollars by putting some of the money into actually growing my own food instead of actually supporting the companies and supporting the whole consumer society. Plus I get a higher quality food, plus I get more diversity than actually what I can buy in the store, because I'm literally growing some things money can't buy. So that's really impressive. So next, let's go ahead and give you guys a quick tour of just some of the things that I'm growing in my garden here at this time. Now I'm about ready to take you guys on a tour of my front yard, but before I do, I actually want to show you guys what it looks like from afar. I don't normally do this too often, but you can see this big overgrown Goliath there. That's where my lawn used to be, and it's like pretty much the end of the summer, starting the fall here, and it's just way massively overgrown, and there's just so much food production on just a small, you know, plot of land. Literally, this is a tract home, suburban tract home. You can see my neighbor's house next to me there for the comparison. Like, mine's like way overgrown with raised bed gardens, like growing out to the max, and they just have a lawn. So what's truly more productive? You know, in my opinion, growing your food is probably one of the best things you could do instead of having a lawn. You know, some friends with kids might argue with me, but I'd say your kids could actually eat out of your front yard and teach them where food comes from, instead of, you know, where kids are thinking food comes from nowadays, which is like, you know, McDonald's or even the grocery store. But really, food comes from the earth, and we're so far removed from this. I encourage all you guys out there to, you know, grow your own food. Before converting your front yard, be sure it's legal in your area, because in some places there are ordinances that say you can't, you know, grow food in your front yard, and I think that's very sad. In any case, what we're going to do next is actually enter my front yard and show you guys just some of the varieties of things that I'm growing on. If I showed you like everything, this video would probably be like 2 hours long. I don't have that much time today, so I'm going to just show you guys some of the cool stuff that I'm growing and could be eaten this time of year. Now we're going to go ahead and show you guys actually just some of the things I'm growing right now. You can see right here, there's just a big tall monster trellis holding up all these squash plants, and I'm actually growing a special kind of pumpkin. It's actually called the Cactus pumpkin. Let me see if I could find any in here. A lot of growth. Oh, there's one right there. There's a pumpkin right there. This is a Cactus pumpkin, and actually these pumpkins are actually you could eat the flesh, but I'm actually growing these for the seeds on the inside. These create the little pepita seeds, or the hulless pumpkin seeds that you may buy at your health food store. Now, if you grow them yourself, I'll tell you one thing: they sure taste a lot different and a lot better than the ones you could buy in the health food store. So I'm growing a lot of pumpkins, and last year in 15 square feet, I grew about 200 pounds of pumpkins, and you know, had a lot of actually seeds to harvest from them. Because I'm in a small residential space, my lot is about 6,000 square feet. I'm growing things vertically. As you can see here, I have a arbor here as a front entryway arbor, and it's completely filled with greenery. And I'm growing a few things here up this arbor here, besides more little Cactus baby pumpkins right there. I'm growing these guys right here, which are actually called the Native American runner beans. These are an heirloom crop, and these produce little bean pods. You can't eat them young, and they taste kind of like sugar snap peas. When they get more mature, let me see if I could find some for you guys. They basically just dry out, and they look like this when they're dried. And then basically you could crack these guys open. Have a little seed or a bean, and these beans, you could actually cook these up and eat them, but actually I save these to grow for next year, or distribute them to friends and whatnot so that they could grow the runner beans. These guys I mainly harvest when they're young and eat them like sugar snap peas. Are just about as sweet. Oh, here's some ones that are younger, and these are still maybe edible. They're still not too big yet, so I'd eat these. Now, in general, I don't eat a lot of beans because beans can contain toxins that you need to basically cook, you know, to get them out of it, like lectins. So yeah, I eat these guys young and just in you know, limited quantities. But once again, I don't want to limit the things that I eat. Another thing I'm growing up in the arbor is new for this year. It's really cool. It's called achicha, and that's these guys right here. They're unique little spiny fruit. This is related to the cucumber, and these guys are actually known as a Bolivian cucumber, interestingly enough. Let's see, this guy's actually kind of getting more mature. This is a really mature subject that I'm probably now going to use for seed. Let me see if I could find a smaller one on here that I could harvest and eat for you guys. Oh, here's a good one. So when they're small like this, what you want to do is you just want to pick them off, and there it is, and then you're going to go ahead and bite into it. And it kind of tastes like a cucumber, but kind of not. It has some little seeds that you can't eat when they're younger. If they're older, I'd save them actually to grow them out. It's a pretty rare crop. It pretty much grows like rampant. It totally took over this arbor, growing like massively. And I like these a lot. I like to basically use these for juicing. When they get more mature, you could still eat the outside, but they get hollow on the inside. Save the seeds, and you could use them to stuff, like peppers. Definitely really good. Moving right along, I'll show you guys what I'm growing in my front bed. Number one, we have some Jerusalem artichokes. Those are actually called sunchokes, one of my favorite edible tubers. And these are the stalks, which are actually not edible, but we're gonna dig up the roots or the tubers underneath the ground in just a little bit, maybe another month or so. And I like to harvest them as I need them. In here we have a variety of mixed greens. So this is one right here. This is actually called the edible chrysanthemum. So the flowers are edible, although not too tasty. I prefer this plant for the little greens here. So when they're small and young like that, they're definitely really good. And this is called tung ho if you go to an Asian market, also called edible chrysanthemum. Shunguku, I think, is the variety, and these guys have a nice flavor, unlike any other green you've tasted. And actually, I like these a lot, and this is one of those rare greens that you probably want to look up and start eating. Go ahead and try this tung ho or edible chrysanthemum leaf. Definitely really good. I love eating it every single time. It's a flavor that you would never expect from a leafy green. Aside from that, I have other things growing like this guy. This is just basically arugula. Harvest arugula leaves here, or I could harvest the flowers, which I actually prefer more than just eating the leaves. The leaves are pretty strong taste, and the flowers are a lot more delicate and actually have a hint of barbecue sauce, in my opinion. Moving right along, we got this plant here. It's kind of mixed in. This is actually called the Egyptian spinach. Egyptian spinach is very high in nutrition. Probably maybe even more nutritious than kale, but it's a relatively unknown plant. And these guys have a nice mild flavor as well. Next door, and this is growing like weed style, all crazy, like just mixed in. This guy's another edible green here. This is actually called stradolo, and the stradolo is from Italy. It's a leafy green that they use. And actually, this is the first time I'm growing it this year, and actually it's a nice mild green. It's not so strong, and it pretty much grows like a weed. And it actually goes to massive seed. This is the flower pod that turns into seed pod, and it's dropping a lot of seeds, so I'm sure I'll have these now forever. Next we have this, and this is an herb from South America. This is actually called wakate, and definitely really good. It's actually putting on flowers now. I've never seen that before, and pretty soon the flowers are gonna open. I'm gonna get to try to eat the flowers and see how they taste like. Oh, there's some already opening up right here. It's pretty impressive. They're just small little flowers right there. It's really cool. Oh, I'm gonna try one for the first time on camera ever. So I'm taking the flowers. Wow, man, the flowers are crazy. They like pack such a punch. Once again, it tastes like nothing you've ever tasted before. It's kind of like cilantro and something else. Oh, actually, I like the little flowers a lot. The flowers basically taste a little bit stronger than the leaves, and the leaves actually have a nice mild flavor. I probably wouldn't use these leaves as a salad green, but probably just add a few to a salad to just definitely spice it up, because that's what it is. It'll give you some spice. Next door here we have a few things intertwined. This plant right here is actually called Malabar spinach, and it's actually a succulent style leaf, kind of thick, and also has these little flower pods that you can't eat. It'll later turn into little seeds that I like to save and also eat for the purple pigment, because that's around the seed is a little fruit. Oh, there's one right there. Let's see if we could get it out for you guys. There's a little fruit right there. Could be a little bit riper, but it's like a little purple berry. That's the berry on top of the leaf. And if you squeeze that, then it gets all purple. So you can see I squeeze that and you can just see the purple coming out. And that's once again a pigment. And you know, eating foods of color and pigments are very important in my diet to ensure that I get all the different phytonutrients and phytochemicals I need. I always encourage you guys to eat the rainbow. And when is the last time you ate some purple? Another thing I'm growing mixed in with the Malabar spinach are these guys. Hasn't been doing well since it's been getting cooler. And you can see the little flower right there. It's pretty beautiful. It's actually called Wholesale. And they make basically it's a hibiscus, and they make these guys into like a tea. These flower pod things are kind of like a little bit sour, so it makes a great like lemonade. The leaves are also edible, but all the leaves have basically gotten lost due to the inclement weather here. Moving on, we got these guys right here. This is called bee balm. So the bee balm I grow for the flower petals, or the flowers. Each one of these are flowers. The bees love this plant. Oh, there's one. There's a bee right there. You guys see him? He's just sucking up the pollen and the nectar from the plants, and that's why I grow these guys, because I want to eat the pollen and the nectar from the plants directly instead of getting bee pollen. And they kind of taste like herby, maybe like some oregano or something like that. Good flavor, and also nice to sprinkle on top of a salad to add some color when you go to a potluck, because people will be like, wow, what's that? And moving on, we got the stradolo flowers right here. These guys are also edible, and lots of stradolo growing. And over here, actually, we got some of my favorite fruits still on the tree. It's never good to pick these guys off the tree. These are called pineapple guavas or fijoas. And let's go ahead and show you guys the ripe ones. On the way to looking for the ripe ones, and check it out, this is quite odd. We got the feijoa flowers. So besides eating the fruits, which are delicious, the flower petals are also edible and quite good. And that's this guy right here. We're going to carefully pick off a flower petal. And it should be a little bit soft to the touch right there, and that's what it looks like. And then you're just going to basically pop that guy in your mouth. Man, on some levels, the flower petals taste better than the fruit. It's just a nice hint, but not too sweet, and really floral. Oh, it's so delicious. Let's continue on to try to find some ripe fruit. All right, and there it is. It's like I'm hunting for Easter eggs, but I'm hunting for pineapple guavas. Here's all the ripe fruit, and the best place to look for ripe fruit in my garden is on the ground, because when the plant's ready and when the fruit's ripe, it'll drop, and that tells you that it's all ready. And this is definitely going to be one of my meals here, all these ripe feijoas. Now, it's not just good that they drop, because they should also be a little bit soft, like a, avocado that's going ripe, but not too ripe. You just want to give to a little bit of pressure. These guys are still just a little bit too hard, so I'm going to collect all these and leave them hanging out inside and check them every day and eat as many as I'd like, when they're ripe, until I'm full and feeling quite happy. Oh, this one's a little bit soft right there. In addition, I got things growing like dandelions. So yes, you can eat the dandelions. All parts of the dandelion are edible, including the flowers, the stems, the leaves, and yes, even the root. Above the dandelions here, we got Brussels sprouts. And so we could eat the leafy greens here. Oh, and there's a huge spider in there. I don't know if you could see them there. I grow all organically, so, I do have some bugs. And my philosophy on the little bugs are, hey, just grow some extra for the bugs. Sometimes I'll also spray organic controls. Another thing I'm growing that's growing up into the trees are those guys. Those guys are actually called lychee tomatoes. And these guys are, when they're ripe, it opens up and you could harvest them. Just like that. Little red berries. I really like little berries and foods of color. These are something that you can't normally buy. I've never seen these for sale anywhere. So if you want them, you pretty much got to grow them yourself. This plant's quite unique here. It has a lot of thorns on it, you could see. And the fruit is actually encased in a little thorny ball. And this is an unripe fruit. It's still green. When it's ripe, the thorns will lift up and it'll open it and give it to you. And so this is an example of a fruit that's kind of opening up and ready to be harvested. Right here, it picks off so easy. So there's two lychee tomatoes. We're gonna try these for you guys. The seeds are kind of hard like a bell pepper, but you could just chew them and crunch them up. They're best harvested when they're fully ripe for full flavor. And it's not that sweet at all, actually. It's mildly sweet. Has a nice, rich tomato-ish slash bell pepper, ripe pepper flavor. I love them a lot. Another reason why I like the Leafy tomatoes is because they're actually still flowering, even though it's already late October. This thing will probably be producing through January because it's still flowering and will produce more fruit. And check it out, this thing's just totally loaded up. In addition, over here, there's a pomegranate tree. And if we look closely over here, we could probably see a ripe pomegranate over there. And there it is, check it out, ripe pomegranates. Waiting for those guys to ripen up. When they're ripe, it'll actually crack open and try to drop its seeds out, but then you're gonna harvest it and eat the seeds. One of my favorite crops to grow is this guy right here. These are called perennial tree collards. This is the purple variety. And these guys grow 365 days a year, and I could harvest the leaves any day and have collard greens to eat. And these guys, pretty much just like kale, they're definitely better to eat in the wintertime when it's cooler out than the summertime when they're a little bit more hot and spicy. Continuing on, I also have a fig tree here. The figs are starting to ripen up, but unfortunately, you know, they ripen up at different times, and I wish I would have enough figs off my tree for a full meal, and I don't. So I also supplement with buying some figs sometimes. Moving on down, I have one persimmon tree in the front yard here, and it's definitely loaded with some persimmons. Those guys are actually probably like giant persimmons, pretty huge. So can't wait for those guys to ripen up. Here's actually a sweet gomi tree that I have an episode on where I harvested the sweet gomis and had a mono-meal out of it. It looks like it's budding out and going to be hopefully going through its cycle again soon. Here's some standard kale, curly kale growing. And right below here I have a whole little patch of Swiss chard. And finally over here I have a whole bunch of bronze fennel. And the bronze fennel has gone to seed, so you can use the seeds as a flavoring agent. And man, there are a lot of seeds on here I need to harvest this year. In addition, I have tons of peppers. You know, I choose to grow things that are expensive to buy. So, you know, I don't know if you price organic peppers lately, but organic peppers, $5.99, $6.99 a pound. Sometimes one pepper could cost you $1.50. So I grow peppers, and I grow them extremely well. This whole bed is just peppers. I have all different kinds of peppers, mostly sweet peppers, some hot peppers. Here's some nice red peppers, and here's some little hot peppers there. I mean, these things are loaded up with ripe peppers. Soon enough, I'll be harvesting some of the ripe ones and actually starting to dehydrate them, and so I'll have them through the winter to flavor up my dishes. Here's just one kind of hot pepper that's just gone nuts. Check it out. In addition, I'm growing things like this guy right here. This is actually called cheese, aka mallow, and it calls cheese because these little discs here, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, they're the little immature seed pods that are still green. You could eat those guys. They have a nice flavor. But I'm growing this actually for the leafy greens. This is an excellent leafy green to add to my salad mixes. Another thing I'm growing new for the second time is these guys right here. They're actually quite ornamental. Let me show you guys this one over here. These guys are actually called milk thistle. So they're really nice and pretty, but the problem is they have a lot of thorns. But because I grew one plant here last year, dropped seeds, I have a lot of milk thistle sprouts growing. So the milk thistle sprouts are right here, and when they're young, the thorns aren't large, and when they're even super younger, like these guys over here, let me find one for you guys here. Oh, right here. This one's a little good one. We can just uproot these one at a time. And when you do, what does that look like? That looks like a little sprout, like maybe a sunflower sprout even. And what I like to do is at this point just take them and bite them off. Milk thistle sprouts. Now milk thistle, they say, is really good for detoxification of your liver. And so I like these guys a lot, not only for the seeds it produces, but the leaves. And I'll juice the leaves and I actually eat the little sprouts and also juice those guys up. Oh, they're so delicious. They have a nice, stronger flavor, kind of like a dandelion, so if you don't like it, don't grow them. Moving on, I got a little patch of strawberries, but don't nearly grow as many strawberries as I could eat. There's just a ripe one there. Over in this bed here, we had some lettuce that had gone to bolt, so we pulled it out, and we have a lot of basil left, and some Malabar spinach left, and some Egyptian spinach. Let's get this guy right here. Over on this side here, we're growing a few things like mainly cucumbers up this big trellis here. You can see this trellis is just loaded up with cucumbers. I'm growing little lemon cucumbers. These guys are lemons, and they taste like a cucumber, but they don't have the bitter green skin. You could juice them up or just eat them out of hand. When they're younger, kind of like this, they're definitely tastier than when they're nice, dark, and yellow. When they're nice, dark, and yellow, I prefer to juice those guys up. Over on this side, we're growing some parsley. I love eating parsley as a leafy green, and in addition, if you look very closely behind the parsley, we got some celery growing. It's been shaded out a little bit by the cucumbers above, but it looks like it's still hanging on. Probably about 15 celery plants growing all down the side here. And I also have lots of tomatoes. So here's some of the tomatoes that are growing, and these guys come on really strong. Check it out. These guys are ripening up. I'm gonna probably have a lot of sun-dried tomatoes here that I gotta harvest and dehydrate. I really enjoy, and actually, you know, it's a really good thing to grow your own food, because not only do you save money, but you get a higher quality food than money can buy. And you know, that's what I do here. I grow my soil and build my soil, and I focus on the soil because it's all in the soil. If you have nice rich soil, including rock dust minerals and the beneficial microbes, the beneficial fungi, bacteria, amoebas, and protozoas, they're gonna do what they're supposed to do so that your plants could be as healthy as possible, and you could grow some of the best tasting food ever. So let's go ahead and continue the tour and show you guys just a few more things. Over in this bed, which looks overgrown, we got some lovage, which is related to celery here. That's definitely really cool. In addition, we got this plant right here. And this plant right here is actually called the Cape gooseberry, also known as Incanberry. So these guys are immature, unripe, but I do have some ripe fruit in the backyard on some other plants. Over in this area here, we got some herbs growing, and this is actually called Rao Ram, or Vietnamese coriander. And then we have these leafy greens here and some beautiful flowers. These are the mallow flowers and the mallow greens that you can eat. Over here, whoa, this is doing quite well. Got a lot of Italian parsley. And if we look closely down here, we got a cool plant here that money can't buy, literally. This is called Cretan rock lettuce. So this guy basically grows in cracks of cliffs here from Crete, and actually has a really nice flavor here. We can just harvest the leaves and eat them. And this is definitely something that I've never seen before for sale anywhere. In addition, over in this bed, we have lots of stevia growing. You know, I could just harvest leaves of stevia here anytime, throw some in a smoothie, throw it in a dessert, and just make it sweet without adding the sugar. They've been doing really well here. And we have some lemon verbena. Lemon verbena has like a nice lemony flavor. It's an herb. You could dry all this stuff for teas, or you just actually just put a little bit in water to give it a nice hint of lemon flavor taste. These guys actually do quite well here as well. Right over in this area, I got another cool fruit growing, and it's these guys right here in these little paper husks. These are actually called tomatillos. You may have seen tomatillos, and when you buy them, they're normally green, and except at my house, because I let them ripen up fully, in which case they're pretty much like this. They kind of look yellow, and actually these guys are actually really good when they're fully ripe. This one probably has a little bit more ways to go, but you definitely get the idea. Moving on into the backyard now, and you can see we have these plants in containers. These are just basically in a 5-gallon pots here, and these are actually called yacon. They make the yacon syrup out of it, and also yacon chips. And I'm actually just growing them for the tubers down below. So we got a lot of these. We have a lot of things in containers. So if you don't have space to put in a raised bed garden, you can definitely grow in containers. These guys are actually called Chilean wine palms. They make a little mini coconut. These guys here are called the ugni berry or tazzy berry. In the backyard also have things like raspberries growing. So lots of raspberries to harvest and eat. Definitely really good. And a lot more things growing in the greenhouse there. All kinds of different rare crops from around the world, literally. We got some lemongrass growing here in containers. We got Japanese aloe vera. You could actually eat the greens on that. It's not bitter. Got some ice cream bean trees growing there. This actually is called Hoja Santa, and you could actually use these leaves as wraps. Definitely cool. These guys right here are actually called pawpaw trees, little baby pawpaw trees growing, and that's not a papaya, that's a pawpaw. And these are actually related to the mango, but they grow in the United States, actually. This guy's a new plant I got. It's actually called the Mexican oregano, not related to oregano. This guy's really cool. It's one of the latest plants I got. It's actually called ice lettuce. And that's new to me. You could just eat the greens like you could leafy greens. Here's a dragon fruit cactus. It hasn't fruited yet. Oh, here's some ripe Incan berries. They get like this, and they fall off just like that. And then you open them up. Here on the inside, you can see the nice, brilliant berry right there. It's in its own little wrapper. Who needs candy when you got fresh Incan berries? I'm gonna go ahead and eat that guy. Man, such an amazing flavor. You just don't get that same flavor when you buy them dried, man, I'm telling you. Over here we got some galangal ginger. It's going nuts here in the summertime. Over here we got some tobacco fruits that are not ripe yet. Hopefully getting there. Over here, got my first crop of little, I think they're strawberry guavas right there, ripening up. And finally in the greenhouse, we'll show you guys these guys. These guys are little black berries. And these are actually called the Wonder Berry. They're kind of like just dark and small. And I like them a lot. They kind of remind me of like blueberries. But these guys pretty much grow as a weed. Nice sweet flavor. Go ahead and pop those. Not quite as sweet as a blueberry, but it'll definitely stain your hands, and I always encourage you guys to eat really different foods. And you know, as you've seen, a lot of the things I'm growing here, literally, you've probably never seen, and you can't buy them because some of the crops here, they spoil fast and they can't literally be shipped. And some of the crops you get in the grocery stores are things that last under cold storage because things have to be refrigerated and saved, you know, when they're shipped to you. So that's yet another reason to grow your own food, to grow things literally money can't buy and open up and be able to access some of the nutrients in these foods that literally you can't buy anyways. Let's go ahead and show you two more areas here in my backyard. Some of my prized plants are just sitting right here. They're now in the flower mode, so I'm excited to see them flower. And I have some new starting plants growing on right now. This is actually called Ashataba, very medicinal leafy green. Once again, I'll add a few of these leaves to salads, but not actually eat the leaves as a whole salad. They can be a little bit strong. But there's a lot of research on this as more of a medicinal plant than, you know, a leafy green. But I use it as a leafy green nonetheless. Back here I'll have a lot of tree collards that I'm propagating so that I can get other people growing them. And that's another thing that I do a lot is encourage people to garden. And if you're not already gardening, you might want to start. And I could definitely show you and teach you guys how I did this. You could just go to the website growingyourgreens.com. I have over 700 videos where I show you guys how I grow food and give you all kinds of examples and ways to do it. As somebody who eats a raw plant-based diet, I encourage you guys to always grow your own food wherever you live, whether it's sprouts in your kitchen if you don't have a yard, or whether it's converting your front yard or a portion of your backyard to grow some of your own food. I encourage you guys to start today. So here's another example of something cool growing. These are actually the Jerusalem artichokes that are being dug up. Actually, they're digging themselves up because actually just broke the pot. And they're just literally falling out. They do need to stay underground. If they're not underground, they kind of spoil fast. But this is what these guys look like, and this is a nice edible tuber. It's actually rich in inulin and does not need to be cooked, you know, like a potato or anything like that. Just wash this off, slice it into chips, dip it in some guacamole, and you're all set. Man, these guys are so delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed the garden tour. I showed you a lot of the stuff that I have growing right now, and you know, there's definitely a lot growing. I couldn't show you totally everything, but hopefully you get the idea that I grow a wide variety and a lot of different unique varieties of food crops that literally money can't buy. And that's why I encourage you guys to grow your own food so you have access to and new taste sensations of some of the foods that you just literally can't buy. And some of these actually are very hard to find. It's taken me a long time to research and find some of the crops that I'm growing today. I continue my quest on growing new varieties so I have new taste sensations, but more importantly to me, I'm doing this for my health, and I have new phytochemicals and phytonutrients entering my body and letting my body choose what it wants to absorb and what it wants to just pass right out. I think that's definitely the best way to do it on a raw foods diet. Eat a whole bunch of different varieties and, you know, just enjoy life, enjoy your food. It's really simple. A lot of times I'll go out and graze in my garden. I'll just pick a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and just eat until my heart's content. Grazing's allowed in my yard if you're me or a good friend, but it's not allowed at Whole Foods. And you know, that's how we should be in nature. It's very simple to eat a raw foods diet. And you know, one of the things that I've learned over the 17 years that I've been doing this is you want to focus on the basics. Keep it simple, stupid. Wait, that's a saying, right? K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, you want to keep it simple, and the raw foods diet to me is all about eating fresh fruits and fresh vegetables as the majority of your diet. Things that are out of nature, you know. It's best to eat things fresh out of nature, right off the tree, right off the plant, directly from the farmer, from the produce wholesaler, if you could get it as fresh as possible. You know, once things start getting processed and put in bags and, you know, isolated and concentrated, you know, we're just screwing with Mother Nature. And, you know, I think Mother Nature definitely does it best, and we want to follow Mother Nature's lead and eat foods out of nature. And that's one of the big challenges with today's raw foods movement. a lot of things are in packaged bottles and jars. So just get back to the fresh fruits and vegetables. I know you could do it. I have over 200 videos on YouTube on this channel that can help you, whether you're starting, whether you want to learn how to get the best deals, or whether you want to learn how to make a soup recipe, which are actually, in my opinion, more beneficial than eating a salad. I'll teach you how to do just that. So be sure to tune in to my other YouTube videos on YouTube on the OKRaw.com channel to learn more about me and how you could eat raw foods affordably and make it work for you. Once again, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time. And remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're the best.